All right, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So good morning, everybody from everywhere. And I just wanted to say, to sort of sum up from last week, this is really important, what I'm going to tell you. Last week, we were working on the three selves, how we have the real self, who we really are, and then we have the self giving the good idea, and it gives good ideas, and then we have the lower self saying, don't do it, and then the blaming self saying, you ought to do it. And yesterday, my son Mustafa mentioned to me, I don't know what great writer or great Islamic sage said this, but he said that our whole lives, everybody, are like a conversation with ourselves. And that really struck me, that all of us are going along. I'm sure you notice it, thinking, I should do this. Oh, wait, I wonder if I should do that. Oh, why did he say that to me? We are in a conversation with ourselves all the time. And it's interesting that by understanding the three selves, we're given tools for watching that conversation and monitoring it, right? So sometimes we're just asleep and the conversation goes on and drives us crazy and we just do stuff. But every so often you wake up, and all of you children and parents and all of us, by this time in our life, we're starting to see that there are different kinds of things that we think that we shouldn't be thinking, or we things that occur to us, like help mother, be kind, you know, oh, I'm about to backbite. Have any of you found that you're starting to notice yourself doing these things? Anyone speak up, unmute yourselves and just explain what it's like watching your own conversation, anything that you've noticed, because now you're noticing it, I'm sure. Could anyone speak, please?
Assalamu alaikum, Sister Aisha.
Wa alaikum salam. Yes.
What I have found is that my my sort of blaming self is actually very weak. But
oh my goodness.
but my peaceful self is much stronger. So I like the idea of being at peace and being with Allah. So I find that a lot easier. My peaceful self is somewhere I want to be. So before I didn't know about the three selves. So I always just had the weak blaming self and the good self. And now that I know more about the peaceful self, I found it really does help.
Yeah, that is good. Anyone else been able to watch themselves about to do something and catch yourself and not do it? Can anyone discuss that?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. You'd be good at this, right? Because aren't you? We've been together over a year or so talking, and it's all been about the inner conversation, right? You know, because you know what you've said. I just sitting in your bedroom with you right now, I remember you thinking, I know there's things I could do outside, go into the house and help everybody, but I'll just stay here. But you watched that. You were able to report back because you're watching that conversation. Isn't it interesting that we have these conversations? They never stop. If you start to notice yourself, it's just talking all the time. So describe any of your inner conversations you've noticed.
Well, I think it's just the general concept that if you are privy to certain bits of information, that, like, say if you know that someone is, you know, going through a hard time or is upset or something, if you know that, if you know they're feeling those things, then I think it's, you know, it's your job to help them. You know,
That's
it's
right.
incumbent upon you to, you know, try and, you know, cheer them up or help them out in some way. If you genuinely don't know that someone is going through a hard time or needs help with something or is struggling with something, then obviously if you don't know that, it's not really your fault. But if you know something about someone, then obviously you need to use, you know, like, you need to act with wisdom and, you know, judge whether it's, you know, appropriate to reach out to someone. Maybe it's not like the right time, but generally I think if you know, are privy to certain bits of information.
Yeah, it could be a schoolmate, a younger brother or sister, And you don't even have to address their problems, but
Yeah.
just be really sweet to them and give them a
Yeah.
little, you know,
Yeah,
just-
definitely. Like as you said, you don't necessarily have to, you know, probe them about, you know, certain bits of information.
Why are
to make
you
them feel
looking so
uncomfortable.
sad? You know, why are you in a bad mood?
Yeah,
You know, then of course,
exactly.
the fact that you had the idea to help them, where do the good ideas come from, everybody? Who are in your heart? What is in the heart with the good eye? It's the angels, right? Do we know what angels are exactly? No. But remember the image of Ghazali said, your heart is full of angels and good thoughts. And then if you have a bad thought, like I won't help, that's like a barking dog and it scares the angels away. These are all metaphors. These are not literal things, dogs in your heart, angels, but these are talking about very profound things that are going on. So it's hard to talk about them without some kind of a story, like the good wolf and the bad wolf idea. You know, it helps. So, I mean, this is really, so if you, let's just follow your good thought. So you've thought some friend of yours is down. Can you watch yourself thinking, I'm not going to do anything? Have you ever noticed that? I mean, you could think, I often think, oh, somebody needs help and I just let it go, right? So we're all learning in this gathering, all of us together, that we are watching our conversation, inner conversation, that our whole life we're just talking to ourselves. Can you imagine this? Sure, we talk to people out there, right? But we can even watch ourselves doing that. Oh, I'm trying to impress that person, you know? That it's really subtle, but what we have been given in Islam, I mean, the Quran speaks of the three selves, right? And Ghazali makes a big deal out of it. We are being given tools so we're not dragged along by the conversation, but we can observe it and get involved. So children, this is a big deal. Let's just say this to everybody. We are all, these are mothers, daddies, little ones, big ones, all of us. We're like on this incredible journey together. You know, it's a magical journey we're all on right now. And do you know, this journey, and we learned Ghazali used the symbol of the camels crossing the desert. Some of them just hung out and never made the trip. Somebody just combed their hair and fed them clover, right? But you know, the camels had to learn what the deal is on the journey. That's what we're learning. What is the deal for our journey? And just don't think it's just an Islamic idea. You know, fairy tales, you all watch Star Wars, you watch all these great Hobbit and stuff. In all of these things, you have the hero going out to conquer a dragon or to conquer the evil demon in the universe. Who do you think the dragon or the evil demon is in your universe? Everybody answer. All right. Okay. Who's going to talk? Haldoon? Yes. Oh, yes, please.
The nafs.
Yes, he got it. 100%, 10 gold stars. The nafs, the lower self, the nafs al-amar bisu, the self that thinks everything is directed to its own pleasure, right? So that, by the way, you can go and see any of the big movies or read fairy tales or read about the Epic of Gilgamesh, all of this kind of stuff. It's all about the story of conquering the evil forces, but the evil force is in your universe and it's your own nafs when it doesn't think of others first. And it's really, by the way, may I tell you something? This is the hardest journey in the world. It's far easier to become a millionaire, make money and start companies than to overcome your nafs. It's that hard. But you know what? Do you think you were born just to go to the movies and eat candy and go to parties and play baseball? Do you think Allah made human bodies just to do that? In the Quran, he says, we have made you in order to know Allah, right? So how do we know Allah? What do you think is the best way to get to know Allah, everyone? This is a really hard question. Anyone have ideas?
Pray.
That's a great way. Remember what we learned about prayer. It's the doorway right to Allah. You want to speak to him, he's waiting. He can't wait to hear from you. When we do the book of prayer, you're going to get into all this. It's really exciting stuff. Yeah. So
One of his names,
what did you say?
his 99 names.
Wonderful, wonderful, of course, because the 99 names are not just names. They are all these qualities that, as we've talked about, make up the universe, make up the trees, make up everyone you know and love. Everybody's a combination of different qualities. So you can look at people and look at things and see the beauty of Allah. And that's what you're seeing. You're thinking, I love that person. They are so latif, so kind. Oh, that's a quality of Allah, and they're exhibiting it. So you are loving Allah and getting close to Allah. When you see these beautiful qualities in nature, in people, in instances where somebody makes the right choice, the hero overcomes himself and he kills the dragon. I mean, we're in a big story, you know? Yes. Zach, is that you or Yusuf there? Yes.
It's Zach.
Yes. Talk a little bit about what we're speaking about right now.
So about how you can learn about God with his 99 names and how they each mean different things and they're all qualities for him.
Mm-hmm. Can you see some of these qualities in people you know and love?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Although
So-
some just belong, like for example, the Most High.
Tell me about someone that you love and some quality you love about them.
Well, one quality is the most merciful. That I've got my grandma who is very kind and merciful.
Yeah, and I can think of grandmothers that are sweet, you know, and kind and patient. Let's other young people and parents here mention something you love about someone you love and what you love about them. Could everyone say one thing, please?
Sister Aisha, you know, Lubna's not here today, and she normally sort of, shall I just guide people to who to speak next?
Yes, would you do that, please?
Yeah, sure, no problem. So, is there anyone who'd like to volunteer to go next? Or else I'll choose someone. Oh, I've got Medina.
Medina, somebody she loves and what she loves about them.
Well, so I have this friend and she's really nice and I really like her because whenever like I fall down or something like that, she helps me. She's really nice. And once she gave me this cord, it wasn't even a special holiday, and it just said that she really liked me as
Oh, how lovely. Oh, isn't it lovely?
I also liked my other friend. She's really nice because she really cares about me, and when I go to school I have to eat outside because of COVID, and once there were a lot of people who ate outside and she came and checked if I got a spot outside because I told her that I had to eat outside.
You see, isn't that lovely? And she cares for you. Do you think Allah cares for each one of you, everyone? Yes. So she's loving caringness. Next, anyone else would like to mention somebody that they love and why?
Okay, I think Zara's got someone.
All right, Zara.
It's my mommy because she always makes me food, and whenever I'm feeling sad or like got a problem at school, she like says that she'll definitely do something about it. And she always comforts me.
Oh.
And she just makes me feel really happy.
Oh, isn't that wonderful? So these are qualities of Allah too. She is generous and kind and caring, just like Allah. Sometimes we can't see it because we have difficult times in our lives, but he sends us these things too, you know, to help us. Okay, would you, Zara, you would like to go ahead and talk? Oh, you've just spoken. Who else is going to speak next?
Salam, Auntie Aisha.
Oh,
This is you.
oh, yes, Yusuf, all right.
Um,
Yes.
So there's Al Halim, which is lenient. And so and kind. You'd find them in your friends. And if they're true friends, then you'll find that you can rely on them. And in situations that are hard, that there'll normally be something if you ask them that they can do for you.
Yeah.
Not saying always rely on your friends and use them, but if they're normally your friends are really kind and helpful, and if there's a difficult situation you're in, they'll try to help you out.
Well, you see, there it is. What you are loving, this Al-Halim in your friends, is exactly what it's all what Allah can be relied on, right? So in each of these cases, what we are loving, right? We are loving the divine qualities. So that is a way to become closer to Allah by noticing. I think I told you all once, I had been in the hospital and I came home and I'd had an operation and I didn't want to come inside the house because I was afraid, I wanted to be in nature. So I was sitting outside on the front steps of our house, just sitting there. And there were trees shading me. There was no sun on me. It was summer. And I heard a dog barking down a street. And when dogs bark, aren't they trying to guard a house and protect it? Let the people know, oh, there's someone outside. And suddenly I realized that when the dog barked, Allah is the one who protects us and guards us. It was the Al-Hafiz, the protector. It just barked, right? And then I looked up at the trees over my head and the leaves shading me, protecting me. There was Allah protecting me as a branch. So we're looking around and we're seeing Allah in the kindnesses of others, in the caringness of others, in the way nature is there for us too. Isn't that a wonderful thing? These are all ways that we can constantly remember Allah and get closer to him and love him. Would you all say that's true? Anybody else want to talk about an experience?
Hello, Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Good morning. How are you, my dear? Oh, look,
We're
everybody's
actually,
here.
we got the timing wrong. So we're actually in the prayer room at the mall.
That's why she's got a mask on, right? What
And we
do-
have to be a bit quiet because we're in the mall, in
Okay.
the prayer room.
What we'll do, we were just about to begin the lesson, but just to sum up briefly for you two, is that what we've said today is that by last week going over the 3 selves, we are all continuously doing our life in a conversation with ourself. It's always going on. It never stops. That's what's going on. You're thinking this and think, oh, I should do this. I shouldn't do that. I'm always thinking I shouldn't all day long. That's what I should get my work done now. Oh, I better cook the food now. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that. So that's the conversation. And now understanding the 3 selves, we've got tools able to watch us and to monitor our conversations. Isn't that wonderful? And then you can say, oh, that's the wrong thing to have said. I better apologize. That's the wrong thing to have done. Maybe I can do this or that. And so the other thing, I'll get to you in a second, Medina, you've raised your hand. And the other thing we're talking about is, Lubna, that we are all on an incredible journey together, right? Just like the camels crossing the desert, but that this journey that we're all making is the one that in all the movies, all the fairy tales, and the children all knew. I said, when the hero goes out to kill the evil demon in the universe, or the knight goes to kill the dragon, who is the dragon and who is the demon? And some very small child said the nafs. Who is it who said the nafs? Somebody did. Right,
That was me.
You see, isn't that brilliant? Lubna, he said the nafs. So we all realize this is the hardest journey and we're all going to have fun in our lives. We're not talking about not having great and fun lives and, playing video games and going to the circus and having fabulous parties. We're not talking about that. We're talking about as you do all these fun things, how you can watch how you're handling it and what you're doing with it. And this is, everybody, we know this is really hard to do, and half the time you miss it. But the more you get observing yourself, the more you're going to get control of all of these things. And so Imam al-Ghazali asks us, right, in chapter 37, he said, there are two kinds of things we can get, we're two kinds of riches we're trying to get. One is, of course, the rich. What are the two treasures we're trying to get? I mean, there are two kinds of riches we're after. Can anyone answer that from your workbook? It was the first question. It said, getting rich and getting knowledge. What is the real richness that you can get? Somebody? Yes.
Can I speak?
I would love it. Yes.
It was the real knowledge.
That's it. Yeah. The other, if you get rich in this world and buy a beautiful sailboat, can you lose that? Can you lose your money?
Yes.
Yeah. There could be a hurricane. There could be a stock market crash, but the knowledge you gain never gets taken from you. You've got it, right? And then Ghazali says, what are the sources of your knowledge? If you wanted to get rich, you would go to school and you would study and you would learn, and then you'd know exactly what to do. Where do you go to get knowledge? Give me, there are about 6 or 7 places. So everybody give a place. Where can you go to get knowledge? Bilal? Yeah. Yes.
You could get knowledge by reading a book, like a spiritual book, or a Sufi, or you could go pray and ask for knowledge from God.
Oh, that's wonderful. Great. Okay, next.
You can gain knowledge from school.
Yes, from school.
Or the
Maybe
mosque.
Yeah.
From who? I couldn't hear you.
Mosque.
The mosque, yeah. Yeah. And who are your teachers? Well, in the story, we had Hajj Abdullah, but who else were the teachers of the children in the story? Yes, Haldun. Yeah, yeah,
It was
yeah.
the parents.
The parents, and the grandmother. Who else? Who else can teach you?
I think Miriam's got a contribution.
Imam al-Ghazali.
Imam al-Ghazali, he's one of our teachers. Can you imagine we have him as a teacher, you know? So you're learning all the time. And I think you can even get, your teachers can even be, you see a film on television, you see a movie. Remember the film that Lubna showed us, remember, that was so moving and we learned so much from it. And we can learn just from our friends. And you're going to discover that we're all teachers. That's what we're going to be talking about today. And so then Ghazali says, once you start having this very special divine, the real learning, what does the real learning teach you to do, everybody? What is it teaching you to do? Yes. Yes.
Like to get to paradise.
Speak loudly, I can't hear.
It helps
Polish your heart.
That's it. That's it. It's polish your heart. The real knowledge is how to polish your heart. And the tools we have is to be able to watch ourselves, right? That's called the jihad al-nafs, actually. So I'm cold. I'll open the door. Now the cold air is coming in. And so anyway, so you have this learning, right? Do you hang on to it and keep it for yourself? Or what can you do with what you're learning? Yes. Yes.
You can teach others and get more rewards.
Sure. You can share it. You know, why would you have something good? You get some great idea and then you keep it to yourself. So we need to share it. And what are ways of sharing? What's the best way you can share polishing your heart? What can you do that, well, what the answer is, it's be a good example, right? Yes. Oh, sorry. Okay, Bilal, go ahead. You wanted to say something?
You could start something like what we have here to share, polishing the heart, and you could start like what you started, like a book project.
Yes, exactly. That's sharing. Medina, how would you share?
Well, I forgot what I was gonna say.
That's okay. Okay, other children. Dubai, what do we have coming from Dubai? What is one of the best ways you can share what you've learned from polishing your heart?
I don't know. You can be, like you said, you can be a good example.
Yeah.
You could share your knowledge by maybe, like, for example, when we were talking about backbiting.
Yeah.
And when you actually have to tell someone that maybe you can't participate,
Yeah.
then in a way you are teaching other people through your actions.
That's it. This is correct. You know, I think to the people that have taught me the most in my whole life, and I always go back to this old Egyptian doctor, Dr. Zahira Abdin, Allah Yerhamha. And she, even when I was 20, she was old. She always looked old, but she got up early in the morning, went after Fajr, she went and built hospitals and take care of the poor. And she'd come home at midnight every night, you know, and she never talked about what she did, and she never said anything bad about anyone. And even as she was dying, she took all of the money, she sold her properties to create teaching colleges for teachers in Bosnia during the war, not even to build buildings, but to teach teachers. And she is like a role model to me, because I saw she never complained. She never talked bad about anyone. She did good things and took no credit for it. And that lesson I got from her is one of the biggest lessons so the teaching was total. And what I was learning was from the way she was. And that's, of course, the best way we can give. I mean, if you gain money and you have wealth, of course you can share that wealth, and you can help build schools and mosques and feed the poor. And all of this is very important. And Imam al-Ghazali mentioned something really beautiful. He said, Jesus said, Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam, those who know and teach are called great in the kingdom of heaven. So the teacher is like lit up like the sun. Isn't that beautiful? So Jesus is talking about that if we know something and we teach it, that puts us in the kingdom of heaven. Isn't that a beautiful image that we have to go with? Mm-hmm. And so we learn from others examples of how to be. So perhaps each of us can tell, anyone who'd like, can tell about the example they saw in someone else, and how that was teaching them to be better. Just someone who did something and their example. All right, we'll start with you, Lubna, since you're right there in front, you and your daughter.
I'm so sorry, Sister Aisha. It's very difficult for us to talk here because we're in the prayer room, so we have to be quiet. And I didn't quite hear your question, but I was just thinking that how beautiful it is what you said, and the fact that, you know, we should have an intention when we change ourselves to teach others, because in reality, like you said, it's amazing that the reality of being a true teacher is to change yourself, as we learned from Imam al-Ghazali.
It's so true, isn't it? You know, and what we really love, you know, I was thinking about this, everybody, yesterday, you know, because I have a lot of friends who are dying from COVID and just dying in general. And I thought about how much of our lives every single day, and children, this applies to you, it's all of us. You think about what you're doing. You get together with friends and you talk, maybe adults talk about their travels, or that they bought a new car, or they talk about clothes, talk about each other. And I'm thinking, if you just died and that's what you've done all day long, right? Most of your time, and you didn't spend a big part of your time doing something different than that. Think how most people just do that with their lives. They get together. And what are we doing now that we're getting together? We're actually remembering Allah, aren't we? So we know from the Book of Knowledge that the angels fly and they circle around a garden of people who are remembering Allah. So we've got a bunch of angels circling up there somewhere, you know. So, but it's so easy, and I keep thinking, to waste your life just talking about the dumbest things to everybody, you know. All right. Would any of you like to talk about somebody whose example, I mean, you really like, right? Anyone? Yes.
I know a teacher. And what I see that his entire life, he's like over 80 years old.
Yeah.
Entire life, he always had students around him,
Yeah.
and just teach Quran and teach Rasulullah and Sahabas, all about religion. So, I mean, that's a great example. He's a living example, and at the same time, he always had students around him, and that's amazing.
You know, what you're saying too is people teach themselves. And kids, when you all get to university, I'm going to give you a hint. You can take courses and get information, biology, history. But if there's, you know, the best thing is to take a course from somebody who loves what he's teaching, because what you'll love is that person's love and enthusiasm. And we love love, not just somebody passing along, you know, the this and that and this, and you should know this and study this and memorize this, and these are the dates. But you know, I took a course when I was in university for a man who taught mythology, myths and stories, and he was so famous that the PBS television made a 6-part series on him. And I went to watch it and I realized I didn't care him talking about these myths. What I loved was he loved his subject. So we love love. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah is love and the Prophet is love. And so we're loving love. So, you know, what you just said about, you know, this man who is teaching these things, he was teaching what he loved. So we're teaching ourselves. So remember, when you're out there, be enthusiastic about beautiful things that you love, and people will love you because they'll love your love. Yes, Medina, you raised your hand. You need to unmute.
So wait, what were you talking about just now? I couldn't hear.
Oh, you couldn't hear? I was just saying, you should, if you were very enthusiastic and love beautiful things and share it with others, like a friend of mine, she called me yesterday. She's been very sick with cancer, and she said, so we went back home to Chicago, and you know what I did last summer? Listen to this. She said, I decided to make a sanctuary for the monarch butterfly that flies across America. She said, I protected the little cocoons. And I thought, oh, I love this. I love what she's doing. And it was not like just saying, oh, we're going on vacation and I'm cooking this for dinner. So things you love, share what you love, and people will be so happy with things that they love, you know? And yes.
I think Zara had a contribution.
Zara, please say your contribution. Yes. Sarah, go ahead.
Well, for me, it was also a Quran teacher that I have, and what I was really inspired about her was that first of all, she enjoyed it so much that she thought it was such an amazing thing, so that she spent so much time with each individual student just to like teach them the Quran. And what else I liked about her is if there was any ever problem you had, or like getting into schools, she'd always pray for you. And I think it's really kind of her. So
you know, I love your teacher. As you're talking about her, I'm loving her. I'm loving that she's enthusiastic and took care of each one. I just love her, you know? Thank you for sharing that love.
That's Zach and Yusuf's grandmother she's talking
about. It is? Oh my goodness, they're lucky to have a grandmother like that.
It's also our grandmother.
Oh my goodness. That's wonderful. All right. Any more comments before we go ahead? All right, the next thing on chapter 38, it's called Being a Teacher. Now we're all starting to know that all these people we love because they're teaching us, they're sort of agents for Allah, right? And we're loving the good that they are. And so Al-Ghazali says, if you're a teacher, and I thought this was really funny, when I was a little girl, I loved to play school, and I got all my cousins in the backyard and gave them homework and things to do. I don't know why I thought playing school was fun, but Ghazali said, right, how is a teacher supposed to treat his students? And it says, circle what is true. He hits them if they are noisy. He acts as if they were his own children. He's angry if the children are bad. He is sweet and loving and merciful and kind and compassionate. What is the best kind of teacher, everybody?
Someone who loves their students like their own children.
Exactly. And treats them like their children, right? So this is also saying when you all go out to teach your younger brother something, all right, say your younger brother has done something really naughty and you decide to teach him how to be better, all right? So what would you say, you were really bad, like, and you should be good? Is that the way to teach him? Zoya and Nyla, you're muted or something like that.
You should tell him what he should be instead of telling him what he shouldn't be.
Yes, but what is the way you do it? Do you say, you should be this way, or do you do it with real kindness? Say you see somebody does something really naughty and stupid. How do you go to them? Do you say, you shouldn't have done that? Or what would be the ideal way to approach them?
You should be as polite as you can.
Yes, and if someone wanted to tell you something, I'm going to tell you all an amazing story. I have a friend, she's a grandmother, and she was downtown with her little grandson. He was little, like 6 or 7, and she was buying him an ice cream at a truck. He suddenly ran across the whole street with 6 lanes of cars coming and going, ran back to the car to get his chewing gum. He could have been killed, right? So when she got him, her first thought was to kneel down and say to him, haven't I told you 1,000 times not to cross the street? You could have been killed. You shouldn't have done that. You know what she did instead? She knelt down in front of him, and this makes me cry. And she said to her little grandson, she cried and she said, forgive me. I'm such a bad grandmother. I didn't notice. I didn't take good care of you. Please forgive me. And you know what? He's now in university. He's grown up, and he has never forgotten the way she approached him. She didn't say, I told you 1,000 times, you ought to know how to do this. She got down and took some of the blame herself. Isn't that an amazing way to give someone criticism? I mean, you know, to do it that kindly. I mean, this is very important because we're all teachers now, right? We've all agreed today, we're all teachers just by the way we are. So sometimes you have to speak up. Can anyone come up with, Lubna, can you think of something you could do, a nice way to criticize somebody?
Well, I can give you an example actually from my father,
Okay.
who, mashallah, is one of the most patient people I've ever come across in my life.
Yeah.
And one day what happened, I was living with him and my kids. This is as an adult. And we were sharing a car, and he asked me, he said that he had to go and give a lecture in the hospital. And he said, I need the car by, 4 p.m. So I went to visit my friend, and I said, well, I'll be back, inshallah, by 4 p.m. And I went to visit this lovely lady who was also this very learned woman who had this incredible Islamic library in her house. And when I went to see her, she offered to show me this library. And I got so excited and overawed by these books and this incredible space she created, that I completely forgot that I was supposed to be home by 4 p.m. So then I was in a panic when I realized, I was about an hour late when I realized.
Oh my goodness.
And I sort of, rushed home in a panic. And I spoke to my mother, and there was, I think my son was in the house, and I said, oh my goodness, what happened? How did he get to the lecture? And this was a big lecture he was giving at the university. It wasn't like a small thing, So they said, don't worry, he managed something. So that evening when he came home, of course, I was expecting that he was going to say something to me about, where were you and why were you not there and what happened? He didn't say a word. He didn't say a word.
Wow.
So we sat down for dinner and he greeted me as normal, didn't say a word. And then I, smiling, happy, didn't say a word. And then I turned to him and I said, Abu, I'm so sorry, this afternoon you were supposed to go for this very important lecture and I was late. And he just said, don't worry, I rang one of my students and they were very happy to take me. I realized that, you probably weren't going to be there. And he came and he picked me up and it was no problem. And I have never forgotten that. I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that he
didn't get angry
didn't get angry, didn't even mention it.
Okay,
I'm going to
tell you all a story about lying, okay? Have you all ever heard there was a big leader in India named Gandhi? He was a great, one of the greatest leaders of all times. And when he died, all there was the little cloth he wore and his stick. He had nothing. Anyway, his grandson lived on a farm in India. His son lived on a farm in India. And one day, and the grandson is called Arun Gandhi. He came and gave a talk here in Kentucky, and he told us this story. Look at the way his father taught him something. Okay, he said, one day my dad asked me to drive him into the town. He had an important meeting. It's like your story, Lubna. And he said, while I'm in the meeting, take the car to be fixed and then meet me here at 4 o'clock, right? And Arun said, I went to the movies. I thought I had the whole day. I could go to the cinema and I would get the car done and everything else, right? And suddenly he looked at his watch and it was 5 o'clock. So he said, I went and there was my grandfather, his father standing old on the street corner. And he said to his son, where were you? And the boy, Arun, lied. He said, the mechanic was late in getting the car ready. And the father said, I called the mechanics. You had never been there. I have been such a bad father that that you would think that lying could be done. He said, so you will drive the car back to the farm and I will walk all the way back. And Arun said, as I drove that car slowly on the grass road to the farm, and the night came on, and there was my old father walking in the dust behind the car. God, do you think he ever lied again? So what we're talking about, the example Lubna has given and Gandhi, this is teaching us, and my friend with the little boy, this is teaching us there's other ways to teach someone than to scream at them and yell at them and lecture them, So I think everyone should be very creative when it comes to all of this. All right, so so this chapter is called being a teacher, and that's how we're going to wind up next 2 weeks from today. Ghazali ends his 40 chapters on what it means to be a good teacher, because I think now we've gotten to the point where we understand that what our true goal is that we are naturally teachers, because people, do you all copy each other? I mean, I saw a lady, the way she did her eye makeup, and I copied her, and I still do it. You see, somebody's wearing this at school, I want to copy them, right? So maybe when we start to do something, we should think, would I like this copied? Let's everybody talk about something they have copied in somebody else, okay? Maybe you copy your grandmother in prayer. What are some of the good things you all have copied? Could everybody say something?
I might have type.
Yes.
I might have copied how my dad prays, and
Good.
like I would hear I forget what it's called, but it's like Assalamu alaikum, something, I forgot what it
Assalamu
was.
alaikum wa ala ibadillahi salihin. You copied that. Isn't that interesting?
I hear it and I know a little bit of it, but like I didn't actually memorize it. I just heard it over and over, and it kind of got stuck in my head. But like I didn't get everything, obviously, but I still got a little bit, and that's awesome.
But you see, the same thing happens. It's not just what you're hearing something, and then you start to be able to do it. You see, we're seeing things, hearing things, and then we start copying them. That's what the sunnah is, copy. You see, oh, that grandmother, she always does this. He always does this before he passes the dates. All the manners, all of our manners are copied. So we're copying things every minute of the day and night, right? We really are. So we don't want, since people are going to copy us, we don't want to do something horrible, right? You know, like, I mean, I can think of some bad things I've done I wouldn't want copied, right? Can any of you all think of things you've done that you wouldn't want anybody to copy? Yeah, plenty. We know it because we're watching the inner conversation.
I think Medina wants to contribute.
Okay, Medina, what would you like not to be copied? Something you've done that you would not like to be copied?
Well, so at school once, my math teacher, well, we try and solve these things in math, and some people copy each other, and first of all, you can't learn from that. And what if that person who you copied from was wrong? Then you'd get a wrong answer.
That's an excellent example, you know, copying something that's wrong. So we don't want to do things that are wrong because people might copy that. All right, what would we like to hear from London? What would London like to tell us? Some of the gang in London.
Being on to Medina's point, how when you copy something that you're not actually meant to copy, like for example, cheating in an exam, for example, and like she said, if that person who you are copying from got the answer wrong, then you would get the answer wrong, but you didn't even try as well. You might have got it right if you actually tried. So
that's really true. That's really true. Okay.
I think maybe Zara had her hand up. Zara?
Oh, Zara, I can't see this. So somebody.
I can't see either, but I think I just saw Zara maybe, and she flashed on the screen.
Yes, I did put my hand up.
Okay.
So when I do like some pieces of art, I just don't want people to copy like my artistic ideas. Sometimes at school, if she says like make up your own like art and make your own art, then some people copy me because they never really try themselves.
That's a very good point you're making. That's excellent. What about your sisters? Would you all like to contribute here?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Would you all contribute something? Yes.
Yeah, Hannah. Anything that you would like someone to copy or that you wouldn't like?
I don't know. I tend to copy off other people. So sometimes, like when I do like impulsive stuff in like video games, if my teammates copied that, that would be very bad.
You see, there you go. All right, and you, your sister, give an example too. What would you not want copied, or what do you do that you would like copied?
I guess sometimes I tend to I'm not sure, I tend to like not yell or something in my friend group, or I tend to use like softer language or something, because my friend group can be quite loud, or they can be quite impulsive with their wording in conversations. So sometimes I try to stay away from that, and I guess it would be nice sometimes if they did that too, but I don't know.
Well, that's a good example to give. That really is. Yeah.
I don't copy off them. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, everybody, before we say goodbye, every single person, mothers and children, everyone has to give something that they would like copied or they wouldn't like copied that they do. Okay, who else?
Well, me and my friends, like we all play video games together, and when someone does something like good in a game, we all kind of use that as a tactic and kind of use that to do better as a team.
That's good. That's a good thing to copy. Yeah. Okay, and your sister, what about you?
Well, I want people to copy me when I read Quran.
Yeah, that's good.
I wouldn't want, so I make like jewelry, and I wouldn't want people to copy that from me, like the type of jewelry I make and stuff.
Why?
Because it's kind of like something I do, and it's like one of my friends, did the same thing. It would kind of be like, I don't know, like, yeah, it was like, I don't know, but like, I want it to be like my idea, and I wouldn't want people to copy from me.
You're giving them an opportunity to be creative on their own. You know, that's a generous thing to do, because everyone has something good. There's no piece of art that anyone does that's bad. Everybody's art is good. It's not, oh, that doesn't look like a dog or whatever. No, whatever it is, it's adorable. So that's good to give a person the confidence that what they can do is good too. That's good. All right. Other people? Any mother?
So like I would maybe want someone to copy me, like learning surahs from the Quran. And like so they can learn it to benefit themselves also. And yeah, that's all I have.
Yeah. For example, if something happens and you're in a bad mood and you give horrible faces, do you want that copied?
Nope.
Do any of you all get in a mood if things don't go your way? Okay, Medina, you wanted, oh yes, you go ahead.
So, well, sometimes at school, I draw these pictures, and then my friend, she copies them, and sometimes I get a little mad, but then she says that she was inspired because she likes mine, not because she wants everybody to think that she's a great artist.
That's very nice. Yeah.
So I forgive her because I know that she wasn't trying to hurt my feelings.
That's very nice.
Yes.
Yes, what would you like to say? What's something that you do that you would not like copied?
I guess everyone has some like bad habits that they do and they wouldn't want to be copied. Maybe like my stubbornness, because I can be really stubborn sometimes. That's probably something I wouldn't want people to copy.
You see, that's excellent, an excellent presentation. Yeah. Yeah, I can think of lots of things I wouldn't like copied, you know? Like I talk too much. I really should be more quiet. I don't even like people like me. Okay. Yes, go ahead. Yes.
I don't want people to copy me when I get angry.
Yeah. Yeah, you're saying by being angry over anything, you're saying this is a legitimate way to react to something, being angry, right? That's a good point. Anybody else?
I think Hasna and Awais have their hands up.
Okay, Hassan and Awais.
Some people would want to be copied and some people wouldn't. It's like a special method or tactic to like doing something, whether it's like for a game or for like a subject like maths or like a hadith, the Quran. And my sister also has something. So in terms of like the environment, I try to avoid using plastic. So that's something that other people could copy just to like sort of benefit the environment as a whole.
Excellent idea. Excellent. And your brother?
I think he already spoke, but maybe
he
we
already
couldn't hear
spoke.
very well.
Okay, good. I'm going to let you, Lubna, call on people because everybody's got to give one example of something they want people not to copy or to copy that they actually do in their life. A real something. Everybody speak up.
Okay, I'm gonna use like an answer that I said like before. Maybe like if like praying, if I know how to pray. So I want like Ali or Taib, my two brothers, to copy me praying. And something that they don't want me to that I don't want anybody to copy is like sometimes I'm a little bit lazy and I don't want my two brothers to copy that.
It's a good point. We really love people who aren't lazy, you know. That's a good point that you should show them the correct way to do it. Yeah. I mean, this is our daily life. It's every minute something is going on where we can really do it in a correct way. We're giving an opportunity every minute to be a good teacher, right?
Shall we go to Tabe?
Yes.
Tabe has his hand up.
When I take off my socks and then I put them everywhere, I don't want my two brothers to copy that too.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Yeah. He gets a halo. I see you have a halo. That's right. He made a very good example. Oh my goodness. That makes me think about leaving things all over the house and making everything look messy. You know, in my bedroom, I could put everything back instead of just leaving things over the chairs and all over the floor. That's a very bad example, isn't it? Yeah.
For not copying, I already said stubbornness, but for copying, I don't, maybe like, I don't know, like I like it when people listen to me. I really like, I don't even know, but when they don't, I get mad. But yeah, maybe like, I guess I could say I'm religious, maybe that. I don't know.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah. That's really good. That's a very good example to be.
I was thinking that when I play the piano, I like it because when like we're doing like spring concerts, different things like that, I really like it because when I like do quite well, it inspires other people and it makes them also want to learn like the piano or a different instrument.
That's very nice.
In terms of what I'd like copied from people is something that I've actually learned from someone else. So I remember when I was sitting at lunch with all my friends, one of my friends noticed how somebody else in our class was eating alone and went over to them and asked them to sit with us. And in turn, I feel like I've learned to do that in the same way. And I hope that it carries on like a chain reaction of people learning to become friends with those who perhaps don't have so many.
That's a brilliant example, the chain reaction. If you do something and someone copies them and then it goes on, it goes on like that, then people copy. So you're starting something that's going on forever, that's hasana, goodness, goodness, goodness. I think that's a perfect example. Yes, good.
Shall we go to Amber and Umar?
I would say for something I wouldn't want copied, I wouldn't want people to copy me in a mocking way. And, you know, if they, you know, mimicked me or, you know, something like that, I would really appreciate that. Or thought it would be funny, to be honest. But yeah, that's something I wouldn't want someone to copy me for. In terms of copying, I would probably want people to copy the, like, you know, the good parts of my personality. Like, I think I'm quite inclusive. So, you know, if, you know, if I'm talking about being like inclusive with people, you know, we should include that person and, you know, invite that person and, you know, hope that, you know, people would copy that and try and be inclusive as well, because I find that quite a lot of people that I know and, you know, just generally people my age, you know, they're not particularly inclusive, and, you know, everyone has their own groups, and so yeah, definitely that.
I think Amber is hitting on a very good point. One of the worst things about going to school is that groups, and you feel excluded from groups. And that's really sad, isn't it? So the idea of pushing inclusivity is really good. You know, it's really, really good. We did an example. We had a year of compassion in our school system. And one of the games I played in the classroom, and we made pictures of it for our magazine. The year the Dalai Lama came, we wanted to show him how compassionate. We would have a whole class together, and then we'd say, okay, you two are going to be excluded. And so the whole group did their backs to them, and they went, oh, we're so sad, we got left out. They acted it. And then we said, okay, now the bigger group include them. The bigger group opened, come and we embrace you. And you know what? By play acting that in school, they got the idea. It felt great being included, and it felt horrible being excluded. And I think the more games, if kids could play act this, it's one of the saddest things about going to school. I always thought, you know, the popular kids or that kind of scene. It's horrible, really. Kids can do some pretty mean things, you know? Wow, thank you for that wonderful idea. Okay, Lubna, do you see anybody left? Thank you, Amber.
I think there's Haluk, and there's Rima's family. So Haluk, maybe next.
Oh, hello. Yeah. Just like someone that I want to like copy is like, maybe if I make a mistake and if someone copies that, as he said, like a chain reaction might happen, or like someone else might copy him, and like it might just keep on going. Like if someone makes a mistake.
For some reason, your sound system isn't clear, Haluk, you know?
Oh, sorry, because I'm in the car.
You're in the car?
I might have not, yeah, and I'll have
okay.
Internet connection, yeah, sorry.
Never mind, you can be excused for today, but not next lesson. And who else would like to go next? I mean, Lubna is appointing people because we're about to end the class, so we want everyone to have a chance to say something. Lubna, will you pick somebody?
I think Auntie Lubna left, but
okay,
Rima and Nadina haven't spoken yet.
Okay, Rima.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum. Sorry, Adina has some test today, so she's not joining us, but it's just me. It's lovely listening to you all. So what I would like, what I'd love to copy is you know, people, how I've been following all these inspiring people, and just how the way they organize their day. And how they start their day. So I've been trying to copy that. Now wake up with not having looking at my phone, just wake up with the dua. And wake up with you know, good thoughts and, you know, a good intention for the day. So, and what I've been I would not like people to, what I don't like about myself, I would not want anybody to copy that, is I think it's the self-criticism. I think I criticize myself a lot. So, which I've been learning not to be kind to myself, because Allah said, subhanAllah Ta'ala says to be kind to his creation, and I've realized that I am one of Allah's creations. I have to be kind to myself.
That's
First
wonderful.
of all. So that's what that's what my contribution is. Thank you for
Well,
giving me the
Rima,
opportunity.
Rima, you just taught me something, you see, because I do get up in the morning and look at my cell phone. I feel it's bad. And the fact that you're saying I get up and I do duet first. Well, even though I didn't watch you do it, you told me about it and I have the idea, right? So Rima has just been a good teacher. Great. Okay, who's left? Was Sweda and Alperin, did you all speak? Oh, you did. You spoke. Who is left? Anybody want to join in? Say anything else? I guess not. All right, everybody. I think this has been a really wonderful class being with all of you today. I think we've all gotten the idea about two main ideas. One, that we are having a conversation with ourselves all the time, and that we have to watch that conversation and try to catch our nafs, that the dragon we're after is the nafs only thinking about itself. And as you all talked about how we're all teachers and how we do things that we would not like copied and things we think would be all right and would be good to be copied, I think what you can use your inner conversation and observing yourself is, oh my God, I just did something, astaghfirullah, that I really wouldn't want copied. I just wouldn't help my mother when she needed help. I just screamed at my younger brother. Oh, yuck. That would be catching yourself, all right? And so I think we have a good plan. We're all going to, in the next 2 weeks, report back something that you have done where you wanted to do the awful thing, like be yell and angry and be in a bad mood, but you caught yourself, you caught your dragon, and you fixed it up. So that's your assignment. Everybody's going to look for one horrible dragon or monster in your nafs that's about to do something not great, and you caught it and stopped it. So that's the assignment. And then read the last 2 chapters of the book, 39 and 40, and we will finish book 1 next week, 2 weeks from today, and we will have a celebration. So you can bring some candy and cake and ice cream to the table, okay? So I'm sending you all of my salams. Have a beautiful day. Go out.
Thank you.
Thank you, my dears.
Thank you.
Walaikum salam. Thank
you. Bye.
Thank you.
Assalamu
Alaikum
alaikum.
assalam.
Walaikum salam.
Oh,
See
assalamu
you next
alaikum.
week.
Oh, thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Lots of love. Bye, Sueda, Ahmed, Rima, Alperin. This is wonderful.
Okay, bye.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, my dears.
So much. Thank you. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Thank
Well,
you.
I think we have a good plan, you know,
Yeah.
because this is the key to realize that everything you're doing is a teaching, right?
Yeah.
Everything you're saying. So I think it really, when we talk like this, by the end of the class, it's like talking to myself. Now I'm going to really notice it all day long, you know?
Yeah. Thank you
Alhamdulillah.
so much, Raisha.
It was wonderful. It was a good class.
It was a great class. It was a great class. And inshallah, we will make the video immediately.
Okay,
And,
great.
and inshallah, we will share. We
Great.
will share.
So much love to you all. Thank you, Haldun, for coming
Thank you.
into my life. You've made our whole project so fabulous, and we're so grateful.
Astaghfirullah. Astaghfirullah. Inshallah, with the clubhouse, I think it will reach out to thousands of people.
Well, you and I can try it this Wednesday and see how it goes.
Yes, yes,
we can
yes.
give it a
It's gonna
shot.
take time. And
Okay.
once you see how it works, then inshallah you'll have a better idea, and then we will include, especially like the families who are in this group, who are in this lesson. At
Good.
least if we can join,
Great.
inshallah, like it's gonna start. It's gonna pop up.
Wonderful.
Inshallah.
So
Thank you
much
so
love to the
much.
whole family.
Thank you.
Assalamu
Thank you.
alaikum.
Alaikum
Fi
salam.
amanillah.
Alaikum salam. Thank you so
Barakallahu
much.
feek.
Thank you.
Thank you.